lady from Oregon is now recognized for her 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I echo my colleagues' sentiments here that this is an issue that I believe is bipartisan in our desire to address. And I would also just reiterate that this is the 4th time that we've asked our tribal partners to come and testify, and yet we continue to cut your funding. So on that, I just want to say that we cannot just be words. We have to truly partner. And Mr. Hilaire, I appreciate, or Chairman Hilaire, I'm sorry, I appreciate you're so clearly outlining what you are looking for in our in your testimony. That's extremely helpful. The chronic underfunding of tribal communities, despite our trust and treaty obligations, is clearly a broken promise in my mind. And the grant funding programs that Mr. Roberge, I think, really spoke to, may be great opportunities, but my guess is that you don't have the resources to competitively apply for those resources. So I just want to ask you to please describe how you would use full funding for law enforcement in particular, and acknowledging that you've outlined it, just give you an opportunity to really highlight what the most important aspects of your testimony are, and why culturally appropriate and competent law enforcement is important on our tribal nations.
Yeah, thank you for that question, and I do just want to reiterate that and agree. Our perception and our understanding of treaty and trust responsibility is not just applying for a grant, especially competitively. We don't want to compete against our brothers and sisters across Indian country to get the services and the work that's needed and what was promised to us in the Point Elliott Treaty of 1855. And so that's one portion of it, and that's why this idea and this concept of the Indian Self-Determination and Education Assistance Act is needed. There's some much needed expansion of self-governance across various agencies in government. And to go to your question, I think that includes Department of Justice, the Homeland Security, and so on, because it doesn't just sit within one agency or one program or one federal opportunity that we have to get what we need to take care of our people and address the serious issues that we face. And so if we were to have the full funding for, at least for us at Lummi Nation, we have our own courts and judicial system, and that's why I brought up the special attorney to the U.S. attorney to have the ability to prosecute federally within our own judicial system would go a long way. And then also having full capacity of our enforcement officers. We become a training ground for officers that come in and are new, and we don't have competitive wages or retirement to other local jurisdictions around us. And so they come in and learn Lummi law, they learn local ordinances, they learn state law, and then they learn federal law, and then they move on to what's next. And so that's a huge issue. And then also what we learned in addressing the immediate overwhelming amount of fatal overdoses is the importance of drug checkpoints to slow down the amount of traffic of drugs on a reservation. And with that, it was a tremendous help to have our own canine unit team there to help with that work. And then not necessarily, it's indirectly impacted by funding, is the support from the BIA agents and FBI in our region. It's very limited, and it took constant calls and meetings to be able to have enforcement BIA agents on our reservation to do these much needed drug interdictions. And in our debrief, it was stated from them and the DEA that the solution is to keep doing them, but then we're going to wait until more people die, or are we going to have a plan in place that is needed so we can do it more regularly, and that does take funding.
No, I appreciate that. And Mr. Chairman, I want to acknowledge we don't have very much time left, but I would really appreciate highlighting the importance of having culturally competent folks investing time and funding and treatment for addiction and recovery. And you spoke to the desire to bring that to the Lummi Nation. And so I was wondering if you could extrapolate or expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So we're doing a full court press, and in addressing the fentanyl crisis and getting drugs off of the street, we saw just overwhelming amount of individuals that wanted to seek help and address addiction and address cycles of trauma and cycles of abuse. And so with that, we have done everything we can to prioritize these much needed services. The stabilization facility, we're building a secure withdrawal management and stabilization facility, otherwise known as Detox, just opened a state-of-the-art tribal health care facility. And all of these healing health services have culture at the very, very core and center of it. Our way of life, our teachings, our values, and that's integrated throughout everybody's journey to wellness, their pathway, because everybody's pathway is different, but having our culture at the very center of it has really, really shown us our ability to take care of ourselves.
No, I very much appreciate that, and I'll acknowledge, Mr. Chair, that I went over a bit. I just want to elevate the importance of building a healthcare system that is not just impactful but sustained, and that we need to meet our treaty obligations and have that reliable funding for that to happen. So thank you.
Well,